Hey guys, what's going on? TN.Frank here, and we're going to take a look at one of my latest radios here. You know, I'm into these radios. I really enjoy them. They're a lot of fun. I like to program public safety channels in, listen to what's going on the roadways or aircraft. You know, I can program air bands into some of them, and you know, there's even like EMS and rural metro fire and stuff. So I really do enjoy these radios. Of course, a lot of people will start out with the little UV5Rs. It's kind of like the gateway drug to these little things. And I got this little guy set up for work. I use a smaller radio. It's just easier to carry at work. And I do have the DPS and emergency channels and stuff on it too. But yeah, these are real handy little radios, VHF and UHF, and you know, that's about all you're going to get. You don't really do air bands on the basic model. They do make some that have air bands, but I've never had any luck with those trying to program them. But these little guys, just for basic, you know, communication, they're great. I mean, they work fine for the money, and they're, you know, $20 give or take, so they're relatively inexpensive. Of course, then when you want to move up, you get into one of these guys, the AR5RM, the assault radio, as I call it. And these are nice. I really do like these. If you saw my video on them, you know, I got like, there's the repeater I've been trying to hit. I guess repeaters have been down. And then, like I say, I got DPS on here to scan and different things. And you know, you got your basic AB, and you know, I've been rocking the little Aubreys. They got a new antenna, I noticed. It's 806 plus. It's a little over 3-inch, so it gives you a little better coverage than those stubbies, but it's still easy to carry. You know, not too bad. But then what really got my attention, I've been trying to find something with GPS. And I tried one of the AR GPSs. It didn't work too well. Then I got the 17R Pro GPS. No luck with it. So finally I just went ahead and broke down and spent the money. And where these are like in the $30-odd price range, these guys are running about 70 bucks. But they are very, very well worth it for all you get. This is going to be the model BF-F8HP Pro, and that's a lot to say, but BFF, best friends forever, 8HP Pro, and these are really awesome radios. They are very similar in size. You see, I have them labeled, you know, I label my radios. The cases are a bit different. They do take the same battery, which is nice. I can stock up on batteries, and it'll work in both radios. So the charging cradles are the same too. But I really like these radios. And when you get the box, here's our box. You'll see you got aviation band. They are GPS, FM radio, USB-Cs. You do get your stylish little wrist strap in the box. You get 2 antennas. This is going to be your 2 meter and 1.25 meter band, and then this is going to be kind of your standard VHF UHF, which I don't really run these rubber ducks. They're not that good of antenna. They will work, but they're not the quality of a better antenna like an Aubrey or you know, your Nagoyas, stuff like that. You do get your USB-C's cable, which I got several of these laying around, so I've not even unwrapped that. You have your earpiece, which I have several of those now. I don't use that either. And then there is a charging cradle that's hardwired in, and it's set up just for that radio. And I got a bunch of these too, so I really don't need to use this one. I already have one kind of set up. But we'll just do a quick walk around on this radio, just to kind of show you some of the features it has. Of course, you turn it on, and you can do your custom start screen. Right now it's set on MERS Blue and then Phoenix Tower, and it is right now, it's only on single mode, so I'd have to go A/B if I wanted to hear the other. But you can set your side buttons. I have the top side button set for power, which if you zoom in here, look right up here at that little blue, you can see right now it's high. To click it, it goes to medium, low, back to high, so I can do my power there. And then I set the bottom button for my FM radio, which I don't want to play too much music, but you got your FM radio. Of course, if you press it, it'll break squelch, and of course that you're going to get your pretty much worthless little signal there, your siren or whatever. I don't know why they put those on there, but they're there. You do have your memory mode. You can also go into your VFO mode if you want to program a channel in. One of the local restaurants here is running 462, 390 on their drive-through, and sometimes I can program them in and hear them taking orders and stuff, which is kind of fun, especially when they tell you the price of some of the food they're selling. But yeah, you got your VFO mode. Of course, you got your standard K1, which this thing's on there tight. It's hard to get that off there, but trust me, there's a K1 under there connector for your programming. Your buttons are multifunction on a lot of these. Weather button, just like on the UV5R, you just hold down your 0, and then you can scroll up to your weather, which ours is 550.
Was sunny with a temperature of 88 at Kingman.
Yeah, it's already getting warm here. And then we hold it back down to shut it off. If you want to scan, let's say I'm going to scan DPS, which I'm on my mixed channel right now, so it's got DPS in there. You hold down the little, looks like a Z, but it's a scan button, your hashtag button. Hold that down. It'll start scanning. So you can see it's going through the 4 DPS channels I have programmed in. To stop scan, you just go ahead and hold it down again. And then your up and down arrow, you can go through your channels you have programmed in. I got 3 of the work channels programmed in here. Some GMRS channels, some repeater channels, you know, different things. So that's real easy to do. Of course, you got your home screen. This gets you to your menu. And I like it that on the menu they put the zones first, because that's an important area. Click that, you can go to your zone select. Click it again, you see I have a mixed zone. I have a GMRS zone. I got a MERS zone, DPS, fire, EMS, and then my air bands. So this allows me to select a zone very easily, first menu, so it's easy to get to, and makes it real simple to swap zones out. And of course you can go on down, you can do your scan, there's radio settings, you got your step, squelch, power save, which I'll show you a lot of this stuff whenever we go to the programming software. Backlight, power on display, it's all right in here. Radio ID, everything's just right in here. You're set the side tone or side key functions here. Station ID, everything's right in there, very simple. Your GPS is in here too, so you can get into your GPS, you can turn it off and on in here. Set your time zone, set your speed units, GPS mode, it's all right in there, and like I said, I'll show that to you on the programming software too. You can program channels from here. You got your radio info, that's showing the ID I programmed into here, the firmware it's using, and the hardware. And then of course you're back to your main setting. A nice thing about these keys, if I want to turn my GPS on, hold down on the AB key. You can see it's got a little red GPS logo right there. That will turn white when it acquires GPS. If I want to go to my GPS on here, hold down your home screen. There's your GPS. Click it again, it'll give you a little map. This map will show where I am in relation to another one of these radios where the GPS is on. So you'll have a menu that you can go, I think it's up arrow. See, Frank 1, Frank 2 are in my contacts. This is going to be Frank 1. I can go Frank 2. If that radio was on, I hit the, with the GPS, I hit the push to talk, and I don't know if it won't do it without the other radio. It'll send out a tone, you'll hear it, it'll go click, 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 click. The other radio will click, click, click back. And that way it'll locate one another, which it won't do because I'm here, I mean. But then you can also go back to your where it's acquiring your GPS. There's my location, which it'll pick it up in a little bit. To get out of your GPS screen, you just hit your back button. And it's still acquiring. It takes it a minute. It's going to go through 3 or 4 satellites and triangulate everything. And being inside, it's going to take a minute. You want to turn your GPS off? Hold down your AB button. Simple as that. I love these multifunction keys. I always don't have to go into the menu to do stuff. I can do stuff right here. So it makes it very, very simple. But we'll go ahead, let's move over for now, and we'll go to the desktop on my computer, and I'll show you the programming software for these, and just show you how easy it is to program these radios. It's not hard at all. Okay, we're going to open the factory programs. We're here on my desktop, and we can go ahead and open this. Let it pop open here. Alright, we'll expand this, and you can see down here at the bottom where you have your different zones, zone 2, 3, all the way up to zone 10. Nice thing about this is you don't have to be connected to the radio to write a program. You do have to be connected if you're going to write it to the radio, but you can fill this in, which is kind of like a spreadsheet. If you're used to a spreadsheet, you should be able to do this pretty easily. But you can see here's your read data from radio, and it'll hold the settings. When you open it, it'll let you know like which port. See, like port 5. You can see port 5. Once you set that, it'll stay set in the this program here. This is the modified program that you get off the BTech website or Baofeng website. But to program your radio, it's fairly simple. Here's your receive, here's your transmit. So let's say we want to put in maybe like a Department of Public Safety highway patrol frequency. We're going to scan. You know, you can do your GMRS, FRS frequencies, whatever. Let's just do that just for an example. So let's say DPS East would be 460.200, and then you see text frequency. You want to get rid of that. You don't want to transmit on public safety. So we go ahead and hit that. High power, you got high, medium, and low. For something I'm not going to transmit on, I always set it to low. They are running narrow band, so we'll put narrow band. And then we can go over here and we can put a name, DPS East. And now that will be saved off whenever we write to the radio. It'll do air bands. Let's say I want to put in an air band frequency. Let me find a page here with my airband frequencies. Let's say we want to do Glendale Airport here locally. That's their tower frequency is going to be 121.00. It won't allow you to transmit because it's an AM. it don't matter high or low. I still will set this to low, just because, I mean, even though you're not going to transmit. Wide or narrow, from what I understand, because it's AM, doesn't really matter. And then we can give it a name. You put in Glen Tower, so it's Glendale Airport Tower. And you just go through and you can make up your program. You know, we'll call this, say this zone 1, we'll call it mixed. So it's going to be a thing of mixed, you know, different things. Now, if you want to scan, say I wanted to scan these two. Scan add, I have that by default set as off. But if I wanted to scan these, you just put on. Now if I'm in my radio and I hit the scan button, it's going to scan these two channels. So that's real simple to set up too. Then you have different, like your VFO mode. You can pull this up. That's the stock settings from the factory. I like to put in the MERS frequencies for VFO for default. Just because MERS isn't really, you know, not a lot of people on it. So, I mean, if you got to communicate with someone, it makes it easier. Then you have all these other power high. You can set your power here. Wide or narrow band. What step, if you're going to scan your VFO, starting with whichever channel. And you have your different steps. Signaling. I mean, a lot of stuff here I'm not really sure what it does. Encryption, we're not going to encrypt anything. Scan range, I mean, we can set this. I can go in here 136 up to 480. So I can scan VHF and UHF. And the busy channel's off. I don't have that on. Then you have your other radio function menu. There's your squelch lever. Power save, we can turn that off. Time to talk, I like to put that about 120 seconds. Dual watch is off. You can do dual watch if you want to monitor two channels at once. It'll only broadcast on the channel you're on though. If you're monitoring A and B and you're on channel A, then you're going to talk on channel A. You'll hear what's coming in on channel B, and you can always switch though. Side tone, tail squelch, I mean all this stuff here. I mean, I'm not sure what half this stuff is. I just don't mess with it. Power on message. You can actually set how long you'll see your power on message. I only set it for 3. I want to actually get into my radio. Station ID. Let's say I want to change that. I can go in here and put TN.Frank. Change my station ID. Or I can put my call sign in. So I got my call sign. That's my station ID now. GPS, I leave that off by default. And I put it GPS. Apparently this Bedo is some kind of a Chinese GPS. I don't want to have that on, so I just put on GPS. You set your time zone. We're going to be -7. GPS unit, mile per hour. You can do a single watch. If you just want a single channel on your screen, you can do single watch, off or on. And then if you want to hook any zones together, you can link your zones. I like to display by name. That's why I put a name in over there so I can see a name. You can turn your menu reset off. That way you can't accidentally go in there and reset your radio. Or leave it on if you want to reset your radio. But yeah, there's Vox as well if you want to do voice operated. It's hands-free. And then your DTMF. This is important for your GPS. This is where you'll put your radio ID. Say my radio will be 101. And then I'll go up 101. On that, I'll call that Frank 1, and then 102, like will be my second radio. That I'll call, say, Frank 2. So when you're doing your GPS, if you want to transmit your frequency to someone, you have that in your menu. So I mean, it's pretty simple stuff. Like I said, it's a lot like a spreadsheet. And then you can go ahead, save as. You can save this off to wherever you want to save it, and you'll have your code plugged. You can hook into as many radios as you want. It make it very simple. Nothing hard at all here. Tools, you do have upload picture, which I think is pretty cool. Your radio does have to be hooked in. You just do your COM port. You make sure it's a bitmap, and it's going to be 160 by 128. And then you can select a picture, which I have some pictures saved out here. So I go into my pics. I got some bitmaps saved off. Let's say say on my AR 5RMs that I have set up just to scan air bands, I have an aircraft logo. That way when I turn the radio on, I know that's the one that's set up for air bands. And then you just click upload picture. So you can do a custom picture too. It's very simple. This programming software works really well. And I'm real happy with this. Like I said, for some reason Chirp doesn't work as well. I can hook into like my UB5R, my little radio, but on the bigger radios, Chirp's not working that well. So I have the factory BF-F8HP Pro software from BTech loaded in, and then I also got, this is for the AR 5RMs, and it's called a T6UV. Not sure why that's the name of it, but there it is. But that's the one I use for that radio. So yeah, I mean, you got your software, very easy to program. So let's go ahead and we'll get back over to the tabletop. Okay, like you see, it's not that difficult to program these. Like I was saying, for some reason Chirp isn't working on these larger units. It won't see the radio. It could be a wind Linux deal where it's just not communicating. It picks up on the little UV5R just fine, no problem at all. But on these guys here, there's that issue. But it doesn't really matter. The factory stuff works great. Plus, with the factory program, unlike Chirp, you do have the option of adding those custom start screens, which I really like. So, you know, this is quite a bit of an upgrade from the AR5RM. You got your GPS, you got your multiple zones. So you have 100 channels in 10 different zones. So if I want to scan, I don't have to just, you know, set up 2 radios. I had to buy extra radios because I wanted to do air bands. So I got a couple of these set up for air bands, and then the others set up for DPS. Here, I can just go to a different zone, which, like I showed you, it's the first menu. Boom, boom. Zone select right there. Scroll down. Let's go to air bands. Click back out, click back out. Now B is air bands. So I can go ahead, I got all them set to scan. I can go ahead and scan through all my air bands. So you can hear we locked into Luke North Approach. But yeah, you can go through all your air bands, then stop scan. And let's say I want to go and I want to scan EMS bands. Zone select, move up EMS. Saved, out. Now, on B, we're EMS. I can go ahead and scan EMS. So now any emergency services coming through. And you can see I got quite a few. I got East, EMS talk, response, dispatch, West. So I got my EMS programmed in there too. The only other radio that I have that does that is going to be that Yaesu, that FT65R. And those radios run, depending on whether they're on sale or not, from $130 up to $150. And you don't have airband, You don't have a lot of things on. You don't have the 1.25 meter. They'll do VHF and UHF, but they won't do a lot of the other bands. So for the money, which you're looking at 20, these run around 30, 35. These are 70. Like I said, they're more money. You're doubling up when you're moving up. You're getting a lot of radio for 70 bucks on these. Also, from what I heard, if you go on the BF-F8HP website, when you buy one of these, you can type in CPS. That's CPS as your coupon code and get 20% off on these. It is shipping is like 3 to 5 days, so it'll be a little while before you get your radio. But if you're not in a hurry, that's the way to go. That's the way to pick one of these guys up, is to go on BF-F8HP and get one. So yeah, I hope you kind of found this interesting. If you're looking to get into a radio, if you just want basic VHF, UHF, just, you know, talk back and forth while you're camping, little UV5Rs aren't too bad, especially when you unlock them and you can run your MERS frequencies and stuff. Not that it's technically legal, but I mean, FCCs don't care. I mean, you're talking, if you're running a couple watts, you're not really getting out very far anyhow on one of these little guys. If you want to move up from there, have a little more versatility, have your air bands and different things, AR5RMs are still really awesome radios. I mean, I did my video on it. It seems to be fairly popular, and I love these radios. They work phenomenal. But I do like having zones on here, and I do like the GPS function. That's real handy, especially if you're out hunting or camping and you get separated from a group and you want to find out where they're at, or they need to find out where you're at, or if you get hurt and you need to send coordinates to someone to rescue you, you can send them the coordinates so they know where you're at, so they can find you. So that makes it real handy, and I believe it's out to like 5 miles too. From what I noticed on another video a guy did, that little circle is about 5 miles out, so that's pretty decent. So I hope you found this interesting. If you like what you're seeing here, you know, like, share, subscribe. I'm still getting close to 2,000 subscribers. I'd like to hit 2K sometime here soon. So like I always say, either we stand up for our rights or we can sit by and watch them go away. You all have an awesome rest of the day. We'll talk to you later. TN.Frank out of here.